What's up guys, Tom here from Metalloud, and I'm here to review the new album from Devour the Day called S.O.A.R. The album starts off with the title track, S.O.A.R, which stands for Suffer, Overcome, and Recover. And it's kind of this very self-motivational song about, as the title implies, going through some stuff, overcoming it, and then figuring out where to go from there and recovering. It's exactly as it implies in the title. And normally I'm not a huge fan of these types of lyrics. If you've read my review of S.O.A.R's album Prayers for the Damned, it was one of the things I kind of criticized it about, was it felt like it was time for them to kind of grow up a little bit, and it was more something you'd expect from some whiny teenager living in their parents' basement, talking about suffering through their teachers in school and stuff like that, not dealing with life. And here it actually really works. It feels true to themselves. It feels earnest. I don't get that kind of whiny feeling that I got with S.O.A.R's album. And not only that, the music behind it is definitely a much, much better. I enjoyed it a lot more. It's way more dynamic. There's also the vocal work on here, which is fantastic. I really like the layering, and just the choruses just have all this power behind them that I really kind of enjoyed them, and that you really don't have this disconnect between what the lyrics are saying and what the vocal work sounds like that you get in a lot of albums like this and a lot of bands that do this kind of music. And that opening track, S.O.A.R, really kind of pumps you up for the album. It's this kind of industrial influence, post-hardcore rock anthem, and it really works to kind of get you into this album. And not to say that that's something that's throughout the album. There's some definitely more energetic songs on here, but there's also some slower songs that come off feeling a little bit like they were trying to be an anthem or a ballad, and songs like Heaven or Quicksand. But here they really work. The things I don't normally like in an album, but I've actually found myself really enjoying that. And again, I go back to, I think that a lot of it has to do with the vocal work on here, which is absolutely fantastic, but everything else as well. Just the production on this album is nice and clean. Everything comes through very well. The guitar sounds strong, the drumming sounds strong, everything really kind of comes through the way it should, and it's something I really kind of enjoyed on this album. If this album really has any downside to it, it's at times it can feel like it was written a bit too simplistically to appeal to a broader audience, or what I'll call a radio audience. And a lot of these songs feel like they definitely could be played on the radio, and that's not always a bad thing, but it kind of hurts it a little bit. I don't think it's quite as explosive as it could have been, but that said, it's still a strong album. As far as going against that, that's not all the songs. It's just some of the songs kind of feel like that. Like I mentioned, Heaven in particular kind of gives off that vibe. There's a few others on there as well. Particularly, there's a track called Faking It Till You Make It. It's also kind of, it's stronger, it's harder, but at the same time, it feels like it's just this side of heavy to kind of appeal to that audience. The closing track, however, called Save Yourself, is actually a very powerful and heavy song. It feels like something more hardcore than it is post-hardcore or anything like that. And it's probably one of my favorite songs off this album. That, and I would say the opening track, S.O.A.R, are probably the two strongest standout tracks on here. But overall, it's a nice, neat package of something a little bit different, and it is going to appeal, I think, to a broader audience. You're going to get people who love post-hardcore. You're going to get people who love metal. You're going to get people who are really only into that kind of contemporary alt-rock stuff on the radio. So it really kind of branches out, and it doesn't really do anything offensive to anybody. And it's one of its strong suits. It's also kind of, at times, one of its weaknesses. But as far as an album overall, S.O.A.R is definitely one to check out.